everybody. Welcome to BVAD Radio. I am one of your hosts. My name is Lorraine. And as most of you know, we're going to have Laura joining us here very shortly. So let's get started, and let me introduce you to my amazing co-host, Erica.
Hey, Lorraine.
Ladies?
Yes.
Laura?
Hey.
Hey, Laura.
Hey, how are y'all?
Oh, we're good.
How are you?
I'm okay. I'm as good as I can be out of the house. So I'm bummed, but I'm trying to stay positive.
Laura, we just want to let you know that you are on our show live.
Okay.
This is BBAD Radio, and we have a lot of your fans in our show right now.
Okay.
And let me just start off by saying that you were the one I had picked to win the game.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I watched your pre-interviews, and I said, she's the one.
Oh, I thought so too. I thought I had it in the bag. I was like, I know this show like the back of my hand. There's no way I can't win. And look, I'm out staying number 2. But it's the group of people. You can strategize and plan and predict and get in there, and you never know who they're going to throw in there, and you never know what kind of twist they're going to be. And that click twist and just the people in the house made it so difficult for me personally.
Mhm. Who, other than Ronnie, because we all know about Ronnie the Rat.
Yeah.
Other than him, who do you think was the most difficult? I'm guessing you're going to say Jesse.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Just Jesse, really. I being a huge fan of Big Brother and following it for all these years. I obviously watched last season. I definitely didn't like Jesse last season. I was so happy to see him go then. So when he walked through the door, I don't know if anybody saw my face, but I think it was pretty apparent I was not thrilled about it. I'm not on Team Jesse at all. So he was already starting off on negative ground with me, so it was never good with him.
You weren't a fan of his last season?
No. Nope.
Who were you a fan of last season?
Last season, I loved Dan from day one. Our week one, I was always a fan of Dan's. I didn't think he would last very long, but about 3 weeks in, I had a little pool with my friends, and I actually said Dan's going to win, and I was totally right, and I ended up making money off of him, so I still love Dan. And I got to see him a few days ago, and it was really cool to get to see him and meet him, even for a second, because I'm such a Dan fan.
Well, you know that Jessica, Brian, and Cowboy were one of the ones for the other clicks to have possibly gone in. Would you have rather Jessica, Brian, or Cowboy, or which one of those three?
Obviously, I would have loved Jessica, because it would have been another number to my team. I really, really liked her in Season 8. I liked her and Eric together. I thought they were cool. She seems like a really sweet, fun girl, so I would have liked her for my team. But behind her, Cowboy. Brian, I think, is just like Ronnie. We did not need another one of those in the house. So my second choice behind Jessica would have obviously been Cowboy.
Just to let you know, Laura, we had Steven from Big Brother 10 on our show last night after the CBS show, and he wanted to say hello to you, and that he'd like to get in touch with you sometime, so just so that you know that.
Okay, cool.
Laura, this is Lorraine. I'm the other host of the show, and I first of all, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today, and you definitely were somebody that we were rooting for. I have we definitely were. There's a couple things I want to ask you. The first thing I want to ask you is, did you get to eat?
After I got out, yes, I ate my pizza. I packed the
pizza. That was great.
I know. I packed it on top of my Big Brother bag, and I ate it right when. I walked out of the house. I sat down, did my. I finished up the live show with Julie. They pulled me back in that back room holding before the early show. The first thing I said was, "I need my pizza," and I ate it before I even went out and did the early show interview. That's how hungry I was.
Aw, we felt for you.
Well, you hadn't had much of that slop.
I did what? I'm sorry?
You had not had much of that slop.
No. There were days when Jordan was, I'm sure they showed it, where Jordan was like, Laura, eat. You have to eat. I mean, I couldn't eat it. I mean, it was like, I would rather be hungry than eat that stuff. And I think that's the way pretty much everybody gets close to the end. It's like I would rather starve myself to death than eat it. I mean, there was one day when I went to a really dark place. I mean, I was like starving and I was upset and I was sitting on the floor and I just got dizzy and Jordan was like, Laura, you have to eat. But it's just disgusting.
That's a shame.
Your week of being on the block, it's just one of the worst. I mean, cold showers, on slop, nominated, and then this whole Ronnie Monday night, which was like awesome for the feeds. People were loving this. What do you think was your turning point in the game?
Negatively, I think the bad turning point for me was obviously trusting Ronnie and believing that 6-4 vote last week would happen, that Shima would be evicted. Positive turning point was Monday night. You know, I kind of knew I was going home, but it was one of those things, you know, you sunk me, so I'm going to make sure I sink you before I walk out the door. I was very, very vocal about, you know, if he single-handedly targeted me and was very malicious towards me. So if you want to get me out of the house that bad, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure you go down right after me. So that was really, really a really big mood lifter for me. Unfortunately, as sad as that sounds, or as malicious as that sounds, it felt really good to take him out with me.
Well, Laura, it felt really good for the viewers to see it too. I want you to know that we loved that, and
good.
The consensus is that was a huge. I mean, it was Feeds Gold, and you know, thank you for that.
Good. I'm glad.
Well, with that being said, I'm sorry.
I was going to say it was Feeds Gold, but the thing is that I believe Ronnie was trying to keep you at that point after you had that conversation with him, and he brought up Natalie, Lydia, Shima, and Kevin up to the choice room, and he was trying to sway their votes for keeping you and kicking out Jordan. Natalie was not having any part of it, and that's when she stormed out of the room and went and told Jesse, and then that's when it all blew up.
Yes. Well, see, the way I looked at it was they had been pretty vocal to me about, you know, we're kind of going to keep Jordan. And, you know, Lydia was like, you know, I already promised Jordan my vote. I knew Jesse wanted me out. There was no turning Jesse. Me and Jesse, there was just no way we were going to mesh. We just personally did not get along well. And Natalie was going to vote with Jesse. I knew Shima would do what the house was doing. Lydia hated me from the beginning. Lydia was very vocal to people about disliking me. So at that point, I was almost positive I was going to go regardless. You know, people said